Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And so we're going to start with question 13. Notice I've sent the part 1 and the part 2 of this video, and now we just want to talk about the part 3. So I'm trusting that probably you've looked at those. I think probably you're part of the part 1. I think you've seen the part 1. If you've not been part of it, there are videos on it in the part 1 and the part 2 as well. And this is the part 3 of it. Okay, so it just covers every other angle. Okay, so in question 13, and kindly please do well. If you have any questions, you can speak up as much as possible so I can just hear you, since I'm actually sharing my screen. And you can also let your classmate know as well. People on the Discord know that the class is starting now. So they've had so many questions. I cannot just type everything, but they can be able to ask me those questions right here in class, and they can just answer, which is much easier than the typing, because I've been doing a lot of typing myself. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. A librarian in a college department library is entering data into a student BOAS file. As the data is entered, it needs to be verified. Why does it need to be verified? It needs to be verified to know what kind of, if this is the actual student that is borrowing this book or not. Describe the 2 types of verification. Now, if you're watching my videos, you will discover that we're not just doing just a past paper. We're looking at the questions and we're diving straight to the chapters in the textbook where this is found. Now, there are 2 types of verification, and you'll see that in chapter 16, when you have proofing. That's a topic there. That's the title of that chapter. Proofing. I want to be sure that is what it is, as much as possible. So I'm just going to do that as much as possible. Just want to take off my phone to ensure that I'm not being distracted. All right, that's chapter 16. Chapter 16 as much as possible. Chapter 16. Okay, chapter 16. Is it proofing? So chapter 16 is graph. That should be chapter 15. Yeah, chapter 15. Okay, chapter 15. So verification. Okay, so you can see that right there. So let's look at it. Verification. I think it should be under this validation. We've talked about. You also see this in chapter 7. Okay, you can see validation in chapter 7, validation routines. So you could actually know what. So this also is also there in chapter 7 of your textbook. Okay. We're talking about verification. Let's dive into verification. I want to show you in the textbook. Yes. Verification. Now, what is verification? Verification is a way of preventing errors when data is copied from one medium to another. That's what verification is. You're verifying to prevent errors. You're cross-checking to check. Now, verification does not stop you from errors. You need to know that, but it helps you to be able to reduce error made. So verification is all about the data entered into the computer. You want to ensure that the data you are entering is accurate. Okay, and there are 2 common ways that verification checks are carried out. We have the visual verification and double data entry. Okay, so that's where the question is coming from, all the way to chapter 15. They said describe, so you have to explain it. So let's look at visual verification. Now we'll talk about visual verification. It is also called a visual check. Okay, so if you put a visual, it's also correct. Now it talks about you are checking for data entries by comparing with the original paper document when it's entered. So this simply means that As you're entering, you've entered it, you're checking it with the original to see that what you've entered and what is there in the original document is the same. But for double entry, it's entered into a system twice. A good example is your password, right? So the two sets of data are then compared by the computer to see if there's a difference, and a difference, then if the difference, it is flagged as an error. So we have a double data entry, okay? And of course, that can also be corrected by the user. So you have the first one and then the second one as well, okay? So I hope that has been explained concerning this question. And this is 4 marks. So it simply means that you have to talk about what you have to, 1, mention the 2 types of verification, right? That's 2 marks. And then the other 2 marks is to explain what they are. The visual verification or visual check, and of course, your double data entry, okay? So we've talked about that, and that as much as possible. Okay. The B part. So any question on what I've said? Any question? Do you have any question on it? So we can talk about it. Any question? If no question, you can just give me a thumbs up so I just know that it's fine. Or probably you comment on the chat. If there's no question, you can just comment no question so I know that you're good to go. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead. Now, explain using examples why it is necessary to carry out validation as well as verification for the system. Why do we carry out validations as well as verification for the system? Well, some of verification is verifying that data you've entered is actually correct. I have looked at validations to ensure that those data have entered into the system match the criteria that have been set. We have so many kinds of validations: format check, present check, type check, character check, etc., etc. Now, why is it necessary? Why do we have to carry out validations as well as verification for the system? 1, because not all errors are found out by verification. Because you can be putting the right thing, but it's not the right criteria. So not all errors are carried out, are found by either a validation or verification. And that's why we need to carry, that's why it makes it to carry out the validation as well as verification. Because if you carry out, if you put out verification on its own, it might be correct, but may not be in the same criteria, may not match that criteria. Why is it necessary? Because why verification talks about, visual check talks about comparing with the original document, what about, or what if the original document has an error? Probably it happens, right? So probably an error in the original document. In the process of typing or whatever, it was carried out. For example, we see this in the date of birth. Now, this might be placed in month, day, and year. And what you have in the source document is day, month, and year. Now, that's an error. And you need to know how, you need to carry out. And that's the reason why we do validations and verification, because we have to check. Okay, another one we can see is when we carry out validation checks, why verification is carried out manually, validation on the other hand is carried out by computer. We have set out the criteria, and it is automatically being carried out by the computer. So there are some validation check that it is even correct. And we have to say, oh, no, 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 no. Just take a breath on this. Okay. Verification is what we need. This is okay. So, and that is why the two of them needs to go together. Talk about an example because I'm running out of fuel. Let's talk about an example. Okay. In such a way, we have your validation checks. You can talk about examples of those validation checks. Okay. How do we look at those examples? For example, we could look at, in the case of this, let's go back. The data or the information that is supplied by the borrower could be incorrect on the source document. And then again, and was copied. So correct, appropriate explanation of an example is actually needed, because if the information that is supplied by the borrower is incorrect in the source document, then this is why a validation check is important. That's a citation. The student writes in his or her name, probably in the wrong column, and now we are putting it into the system. We're going to have issues with that. For example, what about the numbers of books? Now, let's say a librarian in a college department is entering data into a student Word file, right? It's entering data into, now, for example, let's say the student borrowed 2 books, and the least a student can borrow is maybe 2 or 1. And by mistake, you probably wrote in your source document, you wrote 2 for the other student. And by the time you're typing, oh, no, 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 no. This is the maximum book you can borrow. So it sends you an error, and you're able to now check. So these are so many ways. And how many marks is it? 4 marks. So how many? These are so many ways in which this can be done. Okay. Spam is associated with ICT system. Spam. Sending unwanted messages in bulk. That is chapter. That should be chapter. Is it chapter? Okay. That should be chapter 8. Yeah. Chapter 8. I'm trying to find it in my textbook in my mind. That's chapter 8. Right? Let's look at it in chapter 8. Chapter 8. Picture of data. Trying to find it. Spam. Okay. Spam. I'm trying to find it in. If it's not in chapter 8. If it's not in chapter 8, then it's definitely going to be in chapter 4. Chapter 4? No, not chapter 4. Let me go back to the question again. It said explain. Is it No, either chapter 8 or chapter 10. Communications. Yes, communications. Communications. Yep. If I were we are talking about emails, that's what it says spam. Um, so this is right here. I just want to show you from the textbook. So you see this. It's not just answering questions. I want to show you where you can find it in the textbook. So this will give you idea on what to read in your textbook. So you don't look at it and say, oh, this is no, right? It gives you an idea of what you can read from the textbook. Um, emails. Okay, I think this right here. Attachments and the effect of spam. Now, yes, an unsolicited email sent over the internet is regarded as spam. Okay, that's what it is. Unsolicited. When you send messages multiple times or to multiple recipients the same message over and over again, it's seen as a spam. It can be annoying, right? And most of the time, a spam can also be part of a phishing scam. Okay, and that is why it's very important for us to know that. Okay. Now let's talk about the main disadvantage. It can use up people's time. It generally annoys people. It uses up valuable bandwidth on the internet, slowing it down. It can have viruses attached, or even be part of a phishing scam. It can clock up users' inboxes. It can clock up users' inboxes. This is one of the reasons why we have to be careful. We are talking about this. Okay. Now, let's talk about so with this, they said this is a 2-mark question. Explain what is meant by the term spam. We've talked about the fact that it is an unsolicited messages. It's right here, unsolicited email that is sent over the internet. Another one is it can be part of a phishing scam. Okay. We can see another one as okay, let's see this. We can see that usually your spam goes to where? Your junk mails. Okay. So, and there's so many ways to put it up to get your points. Okay. And if it's also, it simply means what? You can fill up your inbox. It's a repeated message. Okay. And I talked about it can be used as a phishing scam. Okay. So there's so many ways to put this to get your full mark. Now, describe the ways that a user can recognize spam and what are the methods to prevent it. Let's look at it this way. Do we have a method here? Okay, so we don't have it, but we know what they are. So knowing fully well this is what they are, how do we prevent it? Now, there are most of the time that they need you to understand it and then you have to apply it. Okay, so what are the methods? How do we even now? How many marks is it? This is 6 marks. So you have to 3 points for how a user can recognize it, and 3 to prevent it, or 4 to 2 4, whichever one. But there must, to get a full mark, there must be points on how to recognize and how to prevent. Very, very important. So how do you recognize it? It's in my spam folder. Any message in my spam folder is obviously spam. That's one way that's what I can see it. Another way to recognize it is, now this spam that is multiple messages, what is the content? If it's asking me for a link, it's a spam. If it's asking me for a personal information, it's a scam. It's a spam. Okay? And if the messaging comes repeatedly, it could be a spam. Those are ways I can recognize it. Okay? Now, what about to prevent it? The one I can think of is, please, don't give people your email address. Be careful with what you sign up to. That's another one. Okay? Be careful what you sign up to. Right? Don't sign up to mailing subscriptions that you don't know anything about. And if you get a spam message, don't reply them, because that's how they know you're active. And as much as possible, at the very least, have a filter that can be able to know which is which. What you call your spam filters. Okay. Explain what is meant by cloud storage and how it is used. How many marks is this? 6 marks. Whoa. Cloud storage. Chapter 4. Networks and the effects of using them. And to be more precise, you see it as cloud computing. It's the future of the storage, though. And in that chapter, it's exciting. Trust me, it's fun. In that chapter, you see that there are 3 common clouds. You have the public cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Yes. So now we know cloud storage simply means storing your informations on a server that can be accessed at any time in any given device. We have an idea of what it is. Now, it's a 6 marks question. That simply means that you have to do what? You have to see how you can break it down. I can come up with 2. We'll talk about cloud storage. Storing your informations in a server online. Another one, cloud storage talks about it requires access to the internet to be able to access your files. That's one. So how is it used? You can access those informations by the internet. That's one way to use it. Another one is you send the files to their server. Let me give an example. OneDrive, your iCloud, your Google Drive. Another way how it is used is information uploaded on the cloud can be shared to as many individuals as possible. And how is it used again? Just in case your computer crashes, the cloud storage can be used as a backup. How is it used? It has an unlimited space, but it comes at a price. It simply means that for you to be able to effectively manage that storage, you have to pay for it. You see how you're putting it together? Think of an example, and that gives you an idea on how to go about it. Describe 2 issues related to the security of data in the cloud. Your informations are not only accessed by you. Because remember, your informations, they don't call data redundancy. If you go to the textbook, you see something called data redundancy. And that simply means your informations are split across servers. And the only sense why you're doing this is because when there's a form of maintenance, right, you still have track of what your files. And if in the off chance that probably something happens to their server, they're always backup server to ensure that you have your files. Okay. So what are those security issues? Let's talk about them. Those informations can be hacked. It's not out of place. It's a security concern. Any information, as long as it's in the internet, it means anybody can gain unauthorized access to it. Unauthorized access to it. Okay. The next one is it is not out of place to say that what if the company server is down? What happens if the server goes off? It's a security issue. These are issues that relate to the security of data in the cloud. And you can lose control of, you can lose access to your informations, especially if it's a monthly plan. If you have to pay for it and you don't renew your subscription, you can lose access to it. Okay. Now, another security is, now you need to know this, all information uploaded to the cloud, there are always copies. So you cannot just delete everything because there are always copies of it. Remember, these informations are distributed towards what we call distributed database management system. Distributed. So it means there are certain databases that your information are being spread across. And that is a security issue. Okay. A company uses corporate house styles within the headers and footers in this document. Where can I see that? Styles. Chapter. I think chapter 14. Okay. We do this game all the time, right? Chapter 14 is layout. Layout. Oh, okay. Oof. Let's go back to the question. Explain what is meant by corporate house style. So you see this in chapter 14 of the textbook. Okay. I know you guys like, oh my God, this is, you have to read the textbook. As a teacher, I have to read it. If I don't read it, how can I teach it? Okay. Okay. Now, all right. But that is the truth. Okay. The Z note is a summarized version of the textbook, but there's nothing like the main textbook, right? I go through it, I digest it because I need to see where it is so that I can just tell you which chapter to go to when you're having issues. Okay. And that's my job. Okay. Your job is, oh, this textbook is so much. I don't think I can finish it. My job is to say, relax. I can tell you the chapters and chapters to go to. What problem when you have it? Go to chapter this, go to chapter that. And that makes it easy and go to where to read. Now, We'll talk about the corporate house style. This is what the corporate house style does. Now, we'll talk about the corporate house style. This simply means, right, using the same formatting, right, in all. Let me go back to the question. Okay, so it's 2 marks, right? Using the same formatting feature in all of your work. Now, the whole essence is to ensure they have what? Consistency. And you see it right here. When you produce work, it's important that you apply the styles to every element that you produce. Whether it relates to what? A document, presentation, or any form of communication. That's what they are. Right? So we have them as what? Styles that all documents, right, and should be formatted, right? So there's consistency. That's one good thing about the corporate house style. It gives you consistency across all documents, right, in that document. Explain what is meant by corporate house styling. Another one is the fact that it controls how the colors or position of how each of the styles are to be used. From the word corporate is a rule. So by the time you apply it, so anywhere you have is a rule that have been applied, and then there is a formatting feature. So the moment you select this, all those texts are going to have the same feature that have been applied. So that brings consistency. It ensures that all documents are going to be formatted in a particular order. Not one is bold, one is not bold, one is underlined, one is not underlined. No. Explain why headers and footers are needed. Why are they even needed? Why are they needed? Now, the reason why they're needed is any informations on your headers and footers are piece of information to describe what a document is all about. And you see that in chapter 13, real quick, we've passed it. Chapter 13 in layout, headers and footers, right here. Headers and footers. To be able to see it here, headers and footers. Should be around should be around here. And these are styles. Comment, let me get it. Oh, I'm in 14. Okay, I've seen it here. Headers and footers. It's right here. Should be. Yes, I've seen it. Okay, so right here. Now, for the headers and footers, we have them here. We also have them here as much as possible. Okay, so these are what the headers, this is aligning them. I want to see if there's a definition. Okay, this is the definition here. Now, what is a header? A header is the area of a document between the top of the page and the top of the margin. A footer, on the other hand, is an area of a document between the bottom of the page and bottom of the margin. Now, what is the purpose? Now, to make sure that each page have elements like page numbers, logos, titles, and whatever. Okay. And then again, it saves the author a great deal, not having to repeat the work on every page. So it's another one is it is used for what repeated terms. What you have to repeat goes also in the header and footer. Another thing is to maintain consistency in the document. If you're putting it in center line, it's going to be in that same position across the document. And what is another one? Explain why they are needed. It saves the author what? Look at it. It saves the author a great deal of what? Time and effort. To type it what? Instead of typing it in each of the page. That is why we use the header and footer. Now, let me start attending to. Do I have questions here? Am I muted? Okay, I'm not muted. So you have to wait a while. Excuse me, sir. Okay, John quiz. Okay. He has a question to ask. Okay, please go ahead with your question. What's the question you have? Please, you can unmute to ask me your questions since I'm sharing my screen, so I cannot really see the chat in real time. So that's why. So you can always unmute to ask me the question.
Excuse me.
Yes, talk to me.
Can you tell the important things in chapter 6? Because it's like, it's a big chapter and I don't have like much time left. So like I see a lot of useless things there. So just tell me.
In chapter 6, right?
Yes, chapter 6.
Now, in chapter
ICT
6,
applications.
yes,
ICT application.
in
Yeah.
chapter 6, now I have a video on ICT application, and what I can do for you is you can just listen to them, right? And what I tell my students to do is this, and I'm going to say that is the videos I create, especially the people one videos, the textbook, or what I call it a textbook explanation video, is they're on YouTube. You can download them as an audio, as MP3, and then you can just listen to them, right? And before you know it, before you walk to you're going out, maybe you're walking to buy something or something, you can just put it as your music, and before you know it, you will have an idea of all the ICT applications. Okay, because I cannot be specific to give you the exact one you need right now, but I can tell you one. Expert system, you have to look at it. Banking system, you have to look at it. Computer control system, you have to look at it. Okay, the GIS and GPS, you have to give it a spin. Okay. Okay, what else? I'm not sure for the retail. You can also look at communications as well. Just look at the basic things in communication, just the basic things. Okay. I think that suffices for now. But then again, I have all the videos on IC application, and it's right there on my YouTube channel. You can go on the playlist. I've put all the topics on the playlist. So right there on my YouTube channel, Ajiro Tech, you can go to the playlist and then look for ICT application, and you can just download them as audio, right? If video is going to save you a great one, you can stream it in your spare time if you want to. But then again, you can just download it and then you can just listen to it just listen to it as you're walking, or maybe if you're sleeping, you can listen to it. And you're just catching some things in between, an idea and all of them, and that will actually just do you a ton of good. Okay. All right. So that's also an option. Okay, so there we have it. So we are done with this. We're done with this paper, and so what I'm going to do right now is I want to end this, and so that we can start another paper, and then we can start another recording. So I'm just going to stop this recording because I've done this. Okay. Yep.